Welcome to the teaching room for the first of our summer newsletter tips. Our first tip today is going to be about chipping. Chipping is probably a skill that a lot of members struggle with. We're finding more and more members now coming to us and saying that they're from off the green, they're putting the ball, they're using a rescue club, and chipping is something that's, and pitching is becoming something that's a bit of a lost art. And it really doesn't need to be that way. And today I'm just going to give a very, very simple tip, one that I think will help a lot of people. And given that generally the feedback we get is that the simple tips are the best ones, this is certainly one of those, and I think it will really help you with your pitching and your chipping. So one of the things we see the most with chipping is, and this goes back a little bit I guess to the 90s, where there was a lot of teaching with both putting and chipping, where a lot of instructors were teaching people that the main cause of their faults was they were decelerating. There was this notion that people were taking long swings and they were slowing down, and the decelerating was the cause of most ills when it came to chipping and putting. So what happened after that time was that we saw a lot of people with their putting and their chipping making passes at the ball a little bit like this. So they'd stand up and they were hell-bent on making sure they accelerated through the ball. And what we started to see was a lot of people hitting shots where we take relatively short backswings on these shots, because they're only 20, 30, sometimes less meters long, and we see a lot of this sort of stuff. So we set up for the chip and we'd see lots of this sort of thing, where we see someone taking a backswing that's only like about a 20% or a quarter length backstroke, yet they would hit the ball with the oomph or the effort that they would go at with a full swing. So they were just overdoing this thought of accelerating through the ball. So the tip for today, and it's a very simple one, and it tends to work with sort of most of my students anyway, and it certainly works for myself. It's just the thought that if I'm going to take a full swing, this length swing, from there I can go at the ball at 100% effort. If I have a backswing that is only a half swing, what we're instructing here is that for a half swing, you should only swing through the ball at whatever your half speed is, or half effort. So if I'm going at the ball at full speed with a full swing, when I go for a half swing, which might be for a pitch shot, might be a 40, 50 metre shot, for a half swing, which would be sort of like about, I guess, a 9 o'clock swing, with that swing, I'm only going to go at the ball at half speed. So it'd be something like this. Very soft. Now, if I'm going to go at 25%, so I'm only hitting a little chip shot where the ball might only land maybe 5 metres in front of me, that might only require a backswing that's only to about here. So the theory is that if I'm only doing a 20% backswing, then I only swing through at the ball with 20% effort. So it would be something like this. Very soft. I'm only hitting the ball 2 or 3 metres. So the tip for today is, if I swing back 20% in terms of the length of backswing, my effort at the ball should be 20%. If I go back half backswing, then only swing through at a half speed. 75%, 75% effort. I think you get the idea. The main problem with going 25% backswing and then 75% effort is that when I suddenly go at the ball like this, the main issue is that when I do that, the handle goes forward in a sudden sort of a jerking motion, and the club goes like this, and when it goes like that, the front edge of the club gets lower than the back edge of the club, and this is quite sharp, and if I do that and this hits the ground, the club will just dig into the ground and will hit the ground too abruptly we hit the shot which is known as the fat shot or a chili dip or a stub or whatever you like, and it's the one where you hit the ground and the ball goes maybe sometimes 2 feet. It's very embarrassing, and it usually sees people starting to use the putter or the hybrid off the green. And you don't need to do that. It's a much more effective shot if you can hit the ball in the air. It presents you with many more options when you hit this shot. You can carry it over wet grass, over long grass. It's a much better shot than hitting along the ground, but it's one that people avoid simply because, mainly from my experience, is that people get anxious and they just go too hard at the shot for the length of backswing that they need or they've chosen. So the summary today is simply as this. If it's a half backswing, half speed. 25% backswing, 25% speed. And if you do that, you will present the club on the right angle, it won't be too far forward, and you should be able to just clip the ball off the grass nicely, okay? So good luck with that. I'll be back with another tip about putting shortly. Thank you.